Today I'm talking with Adrienne Neary, who won the Equestrian Overall Award at this year's Equus Film and Arts Fest with her book called Legendary Hearts of Horses. Well, congratulations for that, Adrienne.
Thank you very much.
It's an intriguing title. What exactly are you talking about there when you're writing about the legendary hearts of horses? It sounds sort of like an anatomy book.
That is a great question. Legendary hearts of horses. What really first got me going about heart was, of course, we heard about Secretariat and his large physical heart. And that was something that just was a stunning revelation as far as his performance was concerned. But I've had experiences where the heart of a horse is so much more profound. And so for me, Legendary Hearts of Horses is a combination of the package of a physical package combined with a real spiritual aspect.
So elaborate on that a little bit. I mean, we talk about horses and athletes of any kind, I guess, having heart. So
Yes.
What does it mean? What does it mean to you as somebody who has researched this topic a lot?
Yeah. Well, I'd probably say the most captivating thing about heart are the intangible qualities. These are the things that inspire us the most when we watch a horse put his heart into something over a jump or around a track or carrying a child who's challenged in some way. We are affected very deeply by that. So these intangible qualities of love and courage and protectiveness in a way that we're not really, that we touch on with each other in between our to-do list. We say, okay, I love you, but it's so much different for a horse. And I think really I'm trying to uncover and unwrap that a little bit to kind of say the heart of a horse is almost unfathomable. And when we see how the horse is driven by heart, we weep, we jump up and down, we do things that are just, we connect with that because this is something that is within us too, but horses hold that space. They don't have the kind of mental concerns that we do. And so when they are with their friends and with people who love them, they hold that heart space for us. And so the physical aspect of heart is also very fascinating. I also love the science part. And so I allowed the physical heart to help me pick out the horses I wanted to feature in my book and kind of travel not only back in time, but all over the world to kind of tie heart together with horses and with people and make it a timeless feature.
I know you started with Secretariat, who everybody knows is was a really good racehorse.
Yes.
But you've talked about a lot of horses in history. Tell us a little bit about some of those horses and how you tie all this in together with Secretariat.
Okay, well, in the introduction, there are two modern horses, Secretariat, whom we know had a physically extra large heart. So I wanted to kind of relate that. We don't know, I featured Zenyatta in the introduction, and we really don't know if she has a physically extra large heart or not, but we would say absolutely because of how she put herself into, put like 100% of herself into everything that she did. And she engaged people. And so I wanted to kind of balance a physical aspect with, really inspirational. We believe, Zenyatta was a horse that, and Secretariat too, they get us to talk, they get us to communicate with each other, and we feel united in those moments. So I followed what Mariana Hahn started as the X Factor trail. And, so I went back in history, and I talked about Eclipse, who was also had a large heart for a horse of his time. And so I tried to, show through veterinary post-mortem exams that, these hearts were large. So and not only did I research that from a physical point of view, I also researched their character, what people said about them, or their the legends, or the how they affected people. And all of these horses, I also went back and I looked at Bucephalus, I looked at Farlap in Australia, and the Spanish horses, which kind of more turned into our wild horses of America. All of that, they have, what they have in common is that they have all inspired us in ways, and they've given us the world. For example, Bucephalus gave Alexander the Great his world. He wanted to conquer. He wanted more land, and so Bucephalus gave that to him, but they had an extraordinary relationship. I mean, if you love a horse as deeply as that horse loves you, they will give you the world. So that is, that's how I kind of tied all these horses together.
Yeah, I was, one of the most interesting things, you were talking about the wild horses and suggesting that they were very proactive about their own survival. What exactly were you talking about there?
This is a topic I've really enjoyed talking with a lot of people about. I was in touch with Gus Cothran, who's a prominent equine geneticist, and I asking him not only about the large heart, which I used some quotes in my book from him, but kind of as a conversation aside of, it's like, how can, before people were involved with horses at all, how did they evolve? How does evolution even take place? And so it was a fascinating conversation that he's obviously a scientist, but epigenetics is something that isn't, these are conditions that exist for all of us, and if in order to adapt to certain environments and circumstances, there kind of has to be a prequel, if you will, to setting things into a DNA. So there might be generations or hundreds or thousands of years of testing a little switch in, a little genetic switch. So there might be, a lot of testing, but horses over generations have a very intimate relationship with the environment and with each other. So proactive is should really be taken in a sense where it's not a thinking thing. You know, horses don't think in the English language or in French or Russian or any language. Their language is feeling. So if you can imagine not being able to talk, but being able to feel and sense with so many things, so much data comes into them, and through their feet, through their whiskers, and all the other senses, and plus they have, you know, which we all do. We have a kind of a bio-electromagnetic emanation that the earth does too, and so horses can sense, react, and decide in ways that are really hard for us to relate to, because we think and we talk and we use words. They use feelings and experience to say this is a good thing. They love so deeply. Have a quick story about my horse, the first horse I bought. I boarded him at this professional facility, and so he was a very easygoing horse. He had a very kind temperament. He was born on a huge farm out in Ohio, and so he was kept with his mother, his extended family, for as long as possible, and then weaned, and then sold, and then you know, I bought him. So he was basically a 5-year-old without any real training, and but an easy guy to get along with. He was really a wonderful, wonderful horse. So one day, the barn manager was going to go into his stall to feed him, and he laid his ears back at her and kind of, you know, went after her like, no, and it frightened her in a way. She was shocked. It just, what is this horse doing? And what she was able to observe, she went back outside the stall, and what she was able to observe is that my horse was trying to save a bird that was drowning in his water bucket. And he didn't want any interference with that. And so she watched him, and he dunked his nose, you know, over the nostrils into the water bucket, and the bird was able to grasp onto his nose, and he had no halter on. So the bird grasped onto him, and he lifted the bird so gently and got the bird up to the edge of the stall, where it kind of climbed off, and a few minutes later was able to fly out of the barn. And so it's in a way to understand their care, their knowing and their caring. I think it's something that we need to keep reminding ourselves, that they are very special. They're very profound, empathetic, intuitive creatures.
Yeah, they're also very trusting of us, yes. and I don't think that we honor that as much as we should.
I agree with you. They're domestic horses, and actually wild horses in a way. Their lives are in our hands, and I think the more we can learn to appreciate them and love them and protect them and take care of them, you know, no matter what we want to do. I mean, there's a practice that some indigenous people do really every day, and that is they'll thank the universe, they'll thank Earth, they'll thank community before they take anything. And I wanted to, with this book, also, you know, say thank you to all these horses. You know, they powered Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's great. That we don't need to exploit horses.
And we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I don't think, I have a retired thoroughbred, and she doesn't care if I ride her or not. She's just happy to be, she's happy to have the freedom that she does. And she, the relationship is better.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. So no, I don't think they care so much about, we assign them, they say, oh, horses need purpose, and which we all do, but I think we can redefine that a little bit, is because the purpose and exploitation are, pretty close.
Yeah, that's a very good thought. Well, let me ask, how can people buy your book?
Oh my gosh. Okay. You can buy Legendary Hearts of Horses on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can go to my website, beechtreearts.com. That's all one word, Beechtree Arts, where I provide links. I don't sell the book on my site, but I provide links. So, yeah.
Is there any way somebody can get an autographed copy?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Go to my website, contact me, and I would be glad. I have a bunch of copies here. I would be glad to do that.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Listen, I appreciate your time, Adrienne. This has been a great interview, and it sounds like a great book. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Thank you, Milt. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for all you do. I really appreciate everybody behind the scenes at the Equus Film and Arts Festival. I realize, it's a big thing to orchestrate and organize. So my gratitude to you.
Yeah, they're a wonderful group of people. They really are. So thanks again. I enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Milt.
Take care.
You too.